Hi there. I am Randy Cherney, the host of the Source Snack Break from Source. Every Monday through Thursday, we take 20 minutes to cover hot topics in the commercial architecture and design world, including new product releases, designer stories, industry leaders, and the impact of design. If you're tuning in live, know that you're all muted automatically, but you can use the chat feature to ask questions. You can also find a video recording on demand at tothesource.com or subscribe to the audio on Apple or Spotify podcast by searching Source Snack Break. Today is our first in our new series of snack breaks, and it is Monday, August 31st. We're having some fun technical difficulties over here, but we're working through them. We are discussing one of our bespoke products, or one of our local products here with our guest, Maddie from CaraGreen. Maddie, how's it going?
Hi, yes, we were definitely experiencing some lovely technical difficulties. My camera was, except for when I need it. So I apologize if we don't get to the ability to see my face or see any samples. But of course, at the end, if you guys ever want samples, later on, I can get those to you so you can see them. But
awesome.
Yeah, we love technical difficulties, don't we?
We're powering through. Yeah. I love it. So before we get started, can you tell us a little bit about you and CaraGreen as a company before we start talking PaperStone?
Yeah, sure thing. So I've been with CaraGreen for about 3 years. I am the director of sales enablement. I did start off as our DC sales manager. But CaraGreen itself, if you guys aren't familiar, is a healthy products distributor. So we're continuously filtering through and stocking the numerous options out there on the green products marketplace. Essentially, we look to simplify product selection, and be a resource for education and information. So we have different CE topics on, fit well and lead and as well as different trends and biophilic design, etc. But yeah, we have a product range from solid surface materials to acoustics to flooring, and more, biophilic materials like organoids. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm going to be talking about PaperStone today, which is something near and dear to my heart. I love this product. But yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk PaperStone. It is a really cool product. Can you tell us first of all, what it's made out of?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's a product made of 100% recycled brown paper. And then PaperStone has developed their own proprietary petroleum-free resin.
Nice.
So basically, yeah, that's the simple ingredients. They are heated and compressed together. Actually, layers of paper are compressed down together, which is a really cool process. And then, yes, the proprietary resin.
But it's really interesting that the resin is petroleum-free. That's a pretty big deal.
It's a big deal, and also, it makes it a tremendous material for all different applications. So from your education to healthcare to even, even small pieces like signage, it's a great product. And because of that resin, it's completely durable, but it keeps its warm aesthetic.
Yeah. And it is my understanding that this is made here in our neck of the woods, here in the Pacific Northwest. Is that correct?
Yes, it is USA made, which is something that we take pride of. We love our USA made products because you are eliminating, the lead times. We can do a lot more, custom sizes. We can basically help you achieve different lead credits if they have to be a product from a certain distance. And then we do stock it over in our North Carolina warehouse, which is where we're based.
Nice. And I know we said this briefly, but I do want to come back to it. It is 100% post-consumer recycled paper, which means it is paper that is being diverted from the landfill. Do you know what kind of paper it is that they're using? You said it was brown paper?
It's recycled brown paper, correct.
Nice. So is that like all of our paper bags that we get at the grocery store and stuff like that?
I would assume so. I don't know, to be honest, exactly where they source it, but, kind of thinking what that material would look like in our consumer industry, it would probably be the recycled, our grocery bags or brown paper bags or your kids' lunch bag.
That's so cool. I love it. So let's talk a little bit about the durability of the product and what it looks like. What are some applications, like apart from just being a countertop in your home or a kitchen space or a break room, where else can designers use this product?
Yeah. So one thing just to mention that's great about, and this goes into the different applications. So PaperStone, the material acts like, a dense hardwood. So it's standard millworking, which allows you to go beyond your counters and do things like cabinets, room dividers, partitions, interior decorative panels. And then, we have had unique, more Etsy. Even sellers use it for jewelry pieces and knife handles and things like that, which it's just amazing what you can do with it. But I love this image that you picked for this, because we do have it in different laboratories, which just shows that it can withstand we have a whole list of chemicals that it can withstand. It's SCSA 3 standard, I believe. So we have a long list, which, especially now where we're using harsher chemicals or cleaning agents, you're not going to have to worry about any of those cleaning agents stripping away the quality of the product.
Got it. And it also says here that it is scratch resistant. How scratch resistant is it? Like, could we use our, do our cutting on there, or like what? Oh yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, we actually, and if any of you are interested, we actually have cutting boards that we have available in our warehouse that we give out to people, and I have one myself too. But yeah, you can cut directly on top of this surface. If you ever do get like a deep scratch in it, the best thing about it is that you just sand the top layer. So it's this through body material, so it's the same layer below. So like I said, if any deep like chunk or whatever, like I don't know what would happen in your kitchen, but sometimes like me, I'm not the best in the kitchen. Something may happen, and a homeowner can, or a property owner can easily finish that themselves. But we do have a couple different finishes. So if you use, so that would be more in the case of like a matte look where it doesn't have the Osmo oil on top of it. But if you wanted a sheen, like a more glossy look, you would use the Osmo oil on top. But regardless, it's scratch resistant, stain resistant. You can put a boiling pot of water and it's not going to boil the surface or discolor it.
That's great. And so because it is a through body material, how should a designer handle the edge of this material?
Yeah.
Do they need to edge it with anything, or can they just tell the fabricator, create a different, beveled edge or whatever it is they're looking for, and off they go?
Yeah, the latter there. So it does come with an unfinished edge when we ship it out to the installer. So it would be, I wish I could show you right now if my camera wasn't the pain in my butt. Pardon my French there, I won't say anything inappropriate. But so there's layers and layers of paper, and I love the unfinished edge because it just shows the story of the material. But if that's not your customer's look or not what you wanted to achieve, you could do a built or a mitered edge. You would just specify to your mill worker which one you wanted, but that's easily done.
Got it. So let's talk a little bit about, it says that you can use this outside. How have you seen designers use this outside?
I've seen, and I've personally seen this, I've seen a lot of outdoor bars, like rooftop bars, and there was one out in Baltimore on the top of a hotel, and they used that. And so it's not limited just to the bars. I've seen it around, different like fireplace, like fire pits and different seating, which has been a little bit more on the residential side, but definitely the bar counters, I think that's one of the nicest places that you can put it outside. And then we have different benches that we've seen too that have been created with this.
Awesome.
Yeah. And that gets into, because it's made with pigments versus a dye. So the pigments are just going to be naturally more resistant to any UV rays, which will, if you think about like a bright yellow t-shirt versus I like to use the comparison of somebody's tattoo and just think about how long it takes for pigments to fade over time versus, a natural dye outside, which can take a matter of a few days.
Mm-hmm. That's super cool. When a designer is specifying PaperStone, you said it comes in this sort of natural matte sort of finish. Can you describe it a little bit and what a designer should do to achieve either the matte or the glossy look and how easy that is, or if it affects the price at all?
No problem with the pricing. It doesn't change it. Like I said, that's kind of based on your preference. If you wanted the glossy look, you would take like an Osmo oil or beeswax, and just the installer would just apply that onto the top after, installing it where it needed to go, and you would have that glossier look. And then it comes with the matte finish, so you wouldn't have to do anything there if that's the look that you wanted. But if you had the glossy look and wanted a matte look after 5 years, like I said, just sand down to the next layer, and it's going to be the same exact thing. Just a matte look.
That's great. I do find that the matte look is, especially for countertops right now, more and more products are releasing matte finishes. So it seems like you guys were ahead of the game a little bit in having like the matte be the standard. I don't know if designers, you're seeing that as well, but we are definitely getting a lot more requests for matte finish, especially when it comes to sort of fingerprinting. Is that an issue with this matte finish, or are fingerprints okay?
Fingerprints are going to naturally happen, but it's easily cleaned. I would probably recommend a lighter color if it's someplace that's going to have more traffic versus like a dark color where, fingerprints are going to show up a little bit easier. So that's really the only case. But like I said, it's easily cleaned on top of the surface just to get rid of those fingerprints. But yeah, the matte look, for my preference too, I think it just creates kind of a different look. It's warm and it's inviting, and especially for I think of the spaces that you want to create that sense of comfort, like kitchen spaces, shared kitchen spaces, or a break room of some sort. That's a really ideal look to achieve.
Yeah, it really does. The matte finish plus the richness of the color, I find, really does create a striking sort of look. It doesn't look like anything else. In the spaces I've been in that had PaperStone, it is definitely something that people are drawn to naturally. Like they naturally want to touch it. They naturally want to sort of be around it, which I think is very cool and not really a look you can achieve with other types of materials for countertops. So if you're looking for something that will create kind of a wow factor as well as being super sustainable, I think this is a super interesting option. And I have seen people really react to it in the field.
Right.
Yeah. Before we talk about using it vertically, can you chat a little bit about, like, does it come in a standard size? How can a designer, like, is it basically like speccing a regular countertop? You just do a countertop layout, you send it to a fabricator, all that good stuff? Or there are things that designers should know in terms of, like, it comes in this specific size, here's how you work with it?
So there's not going to be any changes to, on how you would work with it, but we do have the designer and standard colors, which have different thicknesses and slab sizes available. But typically the thickness runs from 1/8 of an inch to 1.25 inches.
Oh, wow.
So, so if you ever receive a box, you'll get samples of the thinnest 1/8 inch and then 1.25 inch thickness, which it's just it's a big slab of sample. But you would specify, the thickness, and then our widths are, about a 30 to, like a 30 by 60, like to 60 inch width. And then lengths will vary. So it's kind of all because we want to help you consider your yield and getting you exactly what you need instead of just one standard size and having to play around with that.
Yeah. If a designer has a client who's really into that super, super thin look, can they use 1/8 of an inch on a countertop, or is that better suited for a vertical surface?
I would probably recommend for a vertical surface. Yeah, definitely just for the option to do like a ventilated facade or something like that, you would want to use the thin material. But I wouldn't probably recommend for a countertop. No, I think that would be
too thin. Okay.
Yeah.
So when it comes to using PaperStone for something that's not a countertop, you've listed here bathroom partitions, cladding, cabinetry. How have you seen designers use this, and how can they put it in their spec, I guess, when working with like a totally new type of material that maybe their contractor hasn't seen before? What should they do?
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing about PaperStone is it's kind of like it doesn't fit into one specific category, but it, like I had mentioned, it is that standard millworking. So I don't feel anytime that I've discussed with GCs or any millworkers the product, and I've explained the fabrication process, and they're like, oh, I don't need anything special. You're like, yeah, it's actually really super duper easy to work with. And we're always happy to walk them through that process, because we know that sometimes when somebody sees healthy or like a sustainable material, they're like, oh boy, what am I getting myself into here? This is a totally non-intimidating product to work with. So as for specifications, I mean, we consider it, a modern surface. So I don't know if there is, I don't look at specs too much anymore, but if that's within the category, it's just the surfacing or,
so it's super easy. If a mill worker knows how to use it, then you can use it pretty frequently is what I understand.
Gosh, yeah.
Sweet. I love it. Designers, if you have any questions, feel free to chat them in now. You can also, I'm popping a link to get samples immediately if you'd like. So those of you tuning in live, we're popping in a link on your screen that takes you to order samples. For those of you on our podcast, you can check out the episode description for the same link, and you can register as a designer account for samples and for future snack breaks. So designers, any questions? No? I'm so excited. This product is great. We have samples in our library. We love that it is a product made here in the Pacific Northwest out of 100% recycled content. That's great. And it sounds like you could do so much with it. So why not? Designers,
that's what we think.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. So designers, if you'd like to register for a future snack break, you can visit tothesource.com, or you can smash that register now button on the screen there. But in the meantime, Maddie, it was great chatting with you, and I hope we get to do this again soon.
Yeah, hopefully next time all the technical difficulties are not a thing.
Right.
We will get there.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much. See you later, designers.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.